Aaron Rodgers on the Jets. Interesting enough. And I loved the Isaiah Simmons pressure that we got on him. And I want to break that down because the usage of Isaiah Simmons was exactly what we wanted to see. I think I watched the extensive amount of tape on Isaiah Simmons after we recorded our quick reaction podcast. He has a lot of issues as a run defender. I know that he's not going to start as long as Micah McFadden is there. Micah McFadden, who did not play in this game, Darian Beavers did, says something. Micah McFadden is going to be the starter opposite of Bobby Okereke if we want to read into that. Isaiah Simmons, he has an important role in this defense, but it is only in passing situations as of right now. And judging by his Arizona tape, that's a good thing.
That is a good thing. And I think the reality of it, as we went over in the reaction pod, Nick, was we're looking for him to be an impact player on passing downs, red zone, and all the money downs, the third downs. And we're not like ideal scenario is what we talked about. You said, what's the ceiling? What's the floor? The ceiling still could be that he improves as a run defender, plays with more physicality, shows up and says, this is my contract year. This is my best chance to get paid as an NFL player. Let me be a different version of this. That's still in line. I still think it's possible. Like if you go back to his Clemson tape, I feel like he was more of an all-around player than what we're kind of projecting him as now, which is like this passing down specialist. But regardless, on that rep that he had tonight where he rushed Aaron Rodgers, that was a little glimpse of what he can be in that specialized role and why that immediately feels, to me at least, like that's adding something to the Giants defense.
Do you remember last year, one of the things that we just praised Wink Martindale for was his ability to waste blockers by the way he aligns his defense pre-snap and where they go post-snap. And one of the primary ways he does that, Dan, successfully, is through simulated pressures. We bring up simulated pressures often. This is a 3rd and 12 where the Giants run a simulated pressure. A simulated pressure is when you crowd the line of scrimmage. Right now on the screen, you can see there's 7 guys on the line of scrimmage. Only 4 end up rushing. So it's technically not a blitz, but the blockers have no idea who is rushing, so they have to take into account everybody who is crowding the line of scrimmage. And if you watch this play where Isaiah Simmons gets isolated on a running back, that's all due to scheme. That's Wink Martindale putting Isaiah Simmons into a position where he can be successful. Because look at O'Shane Ximenez, who is directly over Mekhi Becton. You have Isaiah Simmons, who is circled, and then Javarius Owens, who's right off the ass. He could also come, so the protection is paying attention to him. If you watch Isaiah Simmons go with O'Shane there, Mekhi Becton's going to take O'Shane because O'Shane Ximenez is told to run into him. And what does that do? It creates a one-on-one matchup with Michael Carter. So you have this incredible athlete in Isaiah Simmons going up against a running back. That is schemed right there. And if you look at both of the guards, who are they blocking? They're not blocking anybody. Both of them. See? 74 out here. He's not blocking anybody. This guy just goes and helps Mekhi Becton as O'Shane Ximenez takes his path inward. He takes his path inward deliberately to remove Mekhi Becton from the threat that is Isaiah Simmons, forcing the Jets into a 6-man protection and a mismatch in the favor of the New York Giants. This is what Wink Martindale does, and this is why I'm so excited, because Isaiah Simmons is primed for this role. Wink Martindale asked him, Dan, what do you want to do? What is your favorite thing to do on defense? And he said, rush the passer. I don't think this kid wants to be a linebacker anymore. He wants to rush the passer. That's exactly what he is going to do, but it's not the only thing he's going to do. He can also drop off into coverage, and we know how athletic and fluid he is in space. So he's just a really excellent chess piece for one of the more creative and exotic defensive coordinators in the league.
I love how you broke that down. I think what you said there, Nick, was the most exciting part about the Wink Martindale defense. And I'm fine hammering it home again for those who have maybe heard it before on this podcast. When you get a play like that, and for those of you who didn't see it on YouTube, you got a left guard just dropping into his pass blocking stance with no one near him. That's a wasted player for the Jets. They have a 5-man protection here, it looks like, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think there's an extra. With the running back and 6th man with the running back. And you have one guy of those 6 just blocking absolutely no one on the play. And before the snap, it looks like, from his perspective, that he has really to be like
7 men, not to cut you off, but it's really 7 men
with the running back.
Because the tight end, the tight end is also up at the top of the screen. I think he's tasked to release, but he has to block this individual because he's so wide. And now you have that tackle not blocking anybody. Both the guards are just like, okay, I'll take these 2 inward path defenders, but those defenders they're there to just keep the pocket to ensure that there's no rushing lanes, but they're not there to sack the quarterback. Now, if an opportunity came where they could, they obviously would take it, but they're there to allow one-on-one matchups on the outside. And that's exactly what the Giants got. One-on-one matchup against a running back and a one-on-one matchup against a tight end.
And it's awesome because in the regular season, we're going to have, Azeez Ojulari as well on the field, Kayvon Thibodeau on the field. But this is kind of, in my mind, Nick, we talked about this a lot this offseason. Do the Giants have an edge 3? Do they have someone to come in and spell Azeez Ojulari and Kayvon Thibodeau and someone to provide insurance if Ojulari goes down again? Do they have someone to bring in for these types of NASCAR type packages on these third and long situations to give a third pass rushing threat? We talked about Tomlin Fox having a nice preseason, right? We talked about maybe O'Shane Ximenez, but none of those guys are competing in my mind in the same way that Isaiah Simmons just did on that rep. I like Tomlin Fox. He had one nice rep earlier in the preseason that was really interesting, but it didn't look like that, right? It didn't look like that explosiveness around the edge, that helplessness that the running back Michael Carter had there trying to protect his quarterback against an athlete like that. Isaiah Simmons is longer. He's quicker in the short area. He's more explosive as an athlete overall, and he's faster, straight up faster. So I think we're going to get a lot more big plays in the passing game on pass defense than we would have had before this trade. And I don't really care if he, what his run defense is right now or what his physicality is, because like you said, Wink Martindale's going to use him in the ways that best fit his skill set.
When you can make a quarterback uncomfortable by sending 4 when they keep 7 in protection, that is just a ridiculous win for the defense. And that's exactly what happened on that play against a future Hall of Fame quarterback.
That's right. And that's the beauty of Wink's defense. Now, it gets you burned sometimes, obviously, because there's times where, like in this game where he did a 0 blitz against Rodgers. That was just funny to see, like in the preseason. I was like, Rodgers got rid of that ball so fast on that play. Just like that ball was out and it was incompletion, if I remember. It was like the tight end I think he was looking for, and it was just like nowhere near him. He's just like, that ball's out. I'm not fucking facing cover 0. I'm facing a 0 blitz in the preseason. Wink, like, get the hell out of here with this shit. But you're right. It was definitely what you said is definitely true. Like, you can bring 4 and get pressure and they're protecting 7. That means you have a massive numbers win for you in the secondary and pass coverage there. So just an awesome rep to see.
And from a scheme perspective, and I know we touched on this, but I want to flat out say it, from a scheme perspective, the way Wink Martindale has success is by crowding all of the center and the interior offensive linemen, those 2 guards, all the way basically right in front of the pocket. So in order to fully maximize that, you need speed rushers on the edge who can win around the edge. And that's one thing Isaiah Simmons can certainly do. We know Azeez Ojulari can do it. We know Kayvon Thibodeau can do it. That's one of the reasons why I'm so excited about this addition. I don't need him to stack and shed the run. I don't need him to be out there on 1st and 10. I need him to be out there in the red zone. I need him to be out there on the 3rd and 6 plus situations, because not only is he going to be schemed in advantageous situations, but he can beat tackles as well just because he is so damn fast. And he's going to have so many one-on-one matchups. So just one of the many reasons why I'm excited about the New York Giants this season.
Yeah, we'll get into it eventually with bold predictions, but I'm way, way, way more bullish on what Isaiah Simmons is going to have impact-wise and what he's going to mean in 2023 than I think most people are at this point. I just feel like he is so perfect for the system. And there's going to be surprise picks, like interceptions that people don't see coming where he's dropping and his athleticism takes over. And then there's going to be a lot more pressures than people realize as a pass rusher. Like, I'm not saying this is Hassan Reddick part 2. When the Eagles got Hassan Reddick from the Cardinals, and Hassan Reddick was completely misused his entire career with the Cardinals. The Eagles are like, let's just make this guy an edge rusher. And now he's like one of the best edge rushers in the NFL. It's not that, but I think some version of that might actually play out this season. A much lesser version of that, the Giants version of that, might play out this season, because he's never going to be Reddick. Like, Reddick, even before he went to the Eagles, Nick, if I remember correctly, had some success as a pass rusher and was like lined up occasionally on the edge with Arizona.
Yeah, he had a dominant season with the Panthers as well.
Regardless, though, I think we're going to see some good things on passing downs from Isaiah Simmons.